Merry Christmas, Travis.
You too, dude.
How you doing?
I am. I'm doing well, but the thing about Christmas season is it's not that restful.
No, it's not.
It's never restful enough. That's for sure.
So, who are you and who am I?
Who am I?
This is Ross and Travis, and we're doing.
Is that who I am? Am I Ross?
If you want to be this morning,
I hope when I'm your age, I have your hairline.
this is Notes On, and we're doing Christ on Purpose. How's that? And I'm drinking coffee, and we're going to talk about the new year, both the last one and the new one coming up. And
I had some really nice bourbon last night watching The Crown. We have one more episode for The Crown.
I don't even know what that is. That's how little. Is that a TV show?
The Crown is a drama that takes us from the beginning of Queen Elizabeth's reign all the way to our day, basically, at least past 9/11. And so now we just finished the episodes about Diana's death and then Will and getting involved with Kate. So we have one more episode. I don't know what they're going to do with the very last episode. I don't know if we're going to go all the way up to the Queen's death, but
is this a fictionalized account or is it?
No, it's meant to be it's meant to be an accurate historical sort of drama. I obviously don't imagine that all the conversations that take place actually happen, but it's trying to stay. Even the private events, which we don't really know, are trying to stay true to what actually happened. They even address whether the royal family killed Diana, which is a fairly common conspiracy theory.
Wow. What do you like about the show?
The acting is incredible and the casting is amazing because the cast members really do look like the characters they're playing. Probably, I can't remember the actor's name who's playing Prince Charles, who's now King Charles. He's much more handsome. I never thought that Charles was a very handsome guy. So when I was a kid, I was like, why would such a beautiful woman choose that guy?
Yep.
I didn't put together, well, he is a prince and he's got lots of money and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
money makes men look better looking.
That's true. It works the other way too. I got a question for you about Christmas. I want to say something about it, and it's actually kind of a continuing thing with me. I want to make the admission that I rarely enjoy the Christmas season.
I can't stand it.
Serious?
No, I'm absolutely serious.
Oh my goodness. A bosom buddy. I feel like I've been a Christian, for 60 years and a serious follower of Christ, for probably half that. And I don't know how to do the Christmas thing. What happens to me is I wind up feeling so bad for the people who don't have family, who don't have money, who don't have the stuff. I'm not a wealthy person, but they don't have what I have. They don't have what friends have. And it kind of ruins it. And for me, and whatever issues are going on in my life, they're kind of magnified during the Christmas season. And one of the things I love to do on New Year's is I'm just like a little kid in a candy store with the Rose Parade. I love to go to that parade. Lots of years I'll stay overnight and go because there's like literally 1 million people on the parade route. It's just one of the most fun things in LA to do. And so, during Christmas, I look forward to going to the parade and starting the new year. And this year, I've been praying, Lord, show me how to appreciate Christmas. What does that mean? And it's actually been a harder year than usual. So I'm not sure what the Lord is showing me, but I want to keep my heart open to this because, oh my gosh, we're celebrating the birth of our Savior, and I am stuck. I just can't sometimes appreciate it. So,
Right.
what's your story?
I don't know. I can't pinpoint exactly why I'm not a huge fan of the Christmas season. But I guess it's just a mix of things. I have to be open and just personal. I have had serious losses that occurred during the holiday season, and so that dampers the spirit for me. But there's this pressure to do or buy or
Yeah,
and I just don't like that pressure. Um, what do you give to people that already have so much? And usually the trinkets we give are things that you'll forget about, within a month. And I don't know, just to repeat the point, it's just so commercialized that it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I am extremely interested in the Christmas story. Um,
yeah,
I don't know if you saw, I mean, we took last Tuesday off, and then I just did the solo thing. But I delved into some of the details surrounding the Christmas story itself, and I don't know. I just think I listened to a debate last night on the virgin birth. I love all of that, but the Santa, the sleighs, the parties where people make and the sweaters, can't stand the tacky sweaters. I love the idea of family getting together, and I love that. I love Christmas dinners and conversation, and so there's an aspect of it that I absolutely love. I love Christmas trees. Absolutely love Christmas trees and decorations. Love all that. But the commercialization of it, just and the rat race that you're on all the way up to Christmas.
yeah,
I never saw that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he's trying to get the toy for his kid. I can't remember what it's called, Jingle All the Way or whatever it is. But I remember watching the trailer. Everybody's just fighting each other for the Tickle Me Elmo doll or whatever he's trying to get for his kid. I
yeah,
just remember watching that trailer, going, "Yeah, that's kind of how I feel," because everybody's just running everywhere trying to do this thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm feel like I'm rambling right now, but I think people that agree with us, they get it.
yeah.
I
You
don't
know
really
what?
feel rested until the days after, like the 26th through the up to New Year's. That's when I get genuine rest.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I've started doing in the last few years, which is really satisfying, is on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or whenever, I'll go through my list of contacts in my phone and just send Merry Christmas text to, a lot of people. Sometimes it takes an hour or two to go through, maybe
Hmm,
a little personal note. Um, I really try to keep up with people. That's important to me. It's probably other than my relationship with God and my relationship with my wife and family, my friends, my friendships are probably the most valuable thing I have. And I
sure.
guess I've really come to terms with that. I know that. And so I try to do a little work to maintain all that. So I'll go through the list and just send Merry Christmas or a little note. And a lot of times these are people that I haven't contacted for a long time. And, a lot of times they're like, oh, yeah, great to hear from you. What's going on? Let's get together. And even if that's all it is, then it's a little bit of contact. And
Sure.
that just feels like I'm doing the Lord's work more than giving
Sure.
away 100 gifts and fighting all the
Right.
crazy people in the store. Um, I'm a pretty social person. I love being out with people, but Christmas season, man, I don't do any of those shopping days. I'm just stay home.
Yeah. I usually do. I don't do a whole lot of shopping, but the little I do, I kind of wait till the last minute. And
Yeah, yeah,
although I did get my wife a decent gift way ahead of time, so
Good, good. You know, you're talking about Christmas trees and all of that stuff. I've been listening this week to Matthew Pageo, the guy who's an icon carver, a friend of Jordan Peterson's. He's a um, Orthodox Christian, and his show is the Symbolic World. It's really great. I recommend it. And he was talking this week. I was just listening yesterday to one where he talks about how he really supports, you know, Christmas and Christmas trees and even the Christian connection to all of that stuff. So if anybody's interested, go check out Matthew Pageo. I thought that was really, really good. He's very supportive of films like It's a Wonderful Life that aren't really Christian, but at least introduce you to, you know, the world outside of materialism. And
Right.
I appreciate that viewpoint. You know, we can't always have every doctrinal point in our favor. It's a tough call, but you know, I watched.
I agree with that. I like the idea that, yeah, Jesus is the reason for the season, but I'm not that person who thinks that every single thing, like my favorite Christmas movie is Elf. I just think it's so. Probably tomorrow night, my son is going to get home, and we're going to, after we spend the day together, doing some of that last minute shopping. We're actually recording this. Actually, supposed to be after Christmas, but what the heck? We're
Yeah,
telling you when we're recording this. But I will watch Elf. It's kind of a family tradition to watch because that movie is just, and it has nothing to do with Jesus. It's just freaking hilarious.
I have
Um,
never seen it. That's Will Ferrell, right?
it is, and the opening. I can't believe you've not seen this movie. You've got to watch this movie. I command you to watch this movie. Bob
I'll get,
Newhart's opening monologue is one of the greatest things I've ever watched in my life. Just when he's talking about elves and elf culture and what they're about. So I just highly recommend it. And everybody just lands in that movie. I mean, like Jane, uh, oh gosh, James Caan, who plays in The Godfather.
yeah.
He plays Will Ferrell's father. It's like, this is one of the greatest castings. They look alike.
Wow.
James
Okay.
Caan and Will Ferrell actually look alike, and so he plays the estranged father of Will Ferrell. So anyway, it's just a fantastic, funny movie, and I like It's a Wonderful Life. So neither of those movies have what we would call specifically Christian themes, but they are Christmas movies that do say something good about um, not just Christmas, but just how we should behave as humans. One is a funny spin on it. One is answering a very serious thing. How would your life, how would things be if you weren't around? So it's talking about the intrinsic worth of the individual, which is a
Yeah.
really good message. So I don't have to have a sermon given to me to enjoy something Christmassy. Um, so I'm totally with you on that.
What would Here's a question for you personally. If you could if you could have a Merry Christmas, if you could have personally a Christmas that was satisfying to you, what would it look like?
And you're talking about just for me personally, I wake up in the morning
Yes.
and I go through,
I mean, and I don't mean the day, I mean the whole season. We're both talking about each living of the
well, I
season.
think, this may be as much of a criticism of myself as it is a wish, but I think if the day after Thanksgiving, every single person on the planet said, each day I wake up, I'm going to try to help another person with some problem that they're having.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling convicted about this. I kind of get so consumed in my own self that I don't look out more. And I'll tell you, this is a confession. I've never done like there are soup kitchens all around every town where you can go and volunteer to just give soup to the homeless. I've never done that.
Yeah.
So why So I guess the ideal would be every day, and every day you're up and you're doing something. Um, every Everybody gets a present. They go buy a present for an orphan, and
You
then
know,
the actual day of Christmas is a day where I get to just be with my immediate and extended family and have a wonderful meal. I don't really care about the Christmas gifts, but just a wonderful meal of conversation. And that is a good day to pull out the Bible. And I had a tradition with my son every Christmas Eve. I would read Luke 2, and every Christmas day night as he's going to bed, I would read Matthew, like 1 8, I guess it's 118 through 2:15, I believe. And I would just read those two chapters to him. Um, so yeah, those 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 kinds of things I would love. A day quail hunting would be another nice thing for me if I could
you
do
know,
that.
it's very convicting what you're saying about getting in a soup line, and that's kind of the way we should be all year. I think the Christian message is really about love. We've talked about doing some shows, and I want to do that next year when if we ever finish our series of talking to other people of other Christian faith traditions. But I came up with a phrase I think is pretty good. Love is the greatest message in the Bible, and it's not hidden in plain sight. It's ignored in plain sight.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
Anybody who reads the Bible seriously is going to see things like 1 Corinthians 13 that says you can be the greatest person in the world, and if you don't have love, you're nothing. Not diminished or less or that.
Right.
The word nothing is used, and man, that's really convicting to me when I read that stuff.
Well, I mean, I'll just say two things about that. One, I think that the commercialization of the season has obstructed the very thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
Because now it's about kids getting a material goodie to entertain ultimately their minds with. Children love toys. They don't really know why they love them, but it becomes ever a never ending source of fascination for them. They can take this object and entertain themselves with it for hours on end.
yeah.
And it's just a way of their minds playing and their minds just running wild. Um, I mean, how excited were you when you were a kid and you got those toys, and then you would latch on to the favorite one, and it would, even in July you're playing with that thing, you wear that thing out. And the ones that you weren't so attracted to, you it ended up in a corner and collected dust. Or if you, I mean, my father would make me clean the stuff out and give what I'm not playing with to someone else.
Oh yeah, good.
um, but nevertheless, it was that's why you love it. And the Puritans attacked, they didn't celebrate Christmas because of the very thing that we're talking about, this commercialization. Now I think they took it too far. They I think it's from them that we get this idea that Christmas trees are pagan, and there's that Jeremiah 10 passage, and people look at that and say, see, Christmas trees are bad. Michael Jones at Inspiring Philosophy has a good couple of videos on this, showing that most of what people say, if not all of it, is just a myth. These are not pagan, um, celebratory traditions. But even if they were, I believe that Christianity is here to redeem what is inherently pagan. And so, even if you convince me that the origin of the Christmas tree, for example, is pagan, I don't see why we Christians can't redeem such a thing. I think Michael Jones has convinced me that it's not. I always kind of assumed that it was. I was like, well, we Christians can redeem those things. But nevertheless, it just isn't. But the Puritans had a point that if the commercialization does obstruct the true meaning of Christmas, and therefore we should at least put a huge check on it. And then the Christmas Carol, which is another great story. Again, it's not a Christian, uh, film or play or book, but it has a really good point to make that if you're this miserly Scrooge, you need to get out and share your worth with other people. There's so many people that are not, they don't have what you have, and they can benefit from the one Bible verse that they quote is a statement from Jesus. It's not in the Gospels. It's recorded in the book of Acts that it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah. And you know what? It feels better too.
It does.
It's not like it's just better in some, way that you can't understand. When I go through that list, and send Merry Christmas to my friends, and many I haven't talked to for a long time, that feels better than anything else I'm doing, because so I guess that's my prayer is, Lord, how can I celebrate Christmas in a way that honors you and doesn't just
Sure.
wear me out and contribute to the goofiness of the culture.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
I don't usually do that. I
do.
but
I'm the typical American who breaks them 10 weeks and 2 weeks in.
I am pretty good at making resolutions throughout the year, though. I'll feel like the Lord is leading me to do something, and I'll make a change. And I guess just focusing on this love thing. I mean, I really feel like everything we do as followers of Christ should be filtered through that. Speak the truth in love is Paul's commandment. It's the hardest 5 words in the Bible. We're good at speaking the truth, especially as Protestants. We have a lot of this really wonderful scholarship that's been built up for hundreds and hundreds of years, but we don't always handle it very well. And I'll say something about that. Maybe you can argue with me, but I'm going to say truth without love is not biblical truth.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're told that explicitly in the Bible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no matter what your accomplishments may be, if you're not expressing that with love for those around you. And, I talk about the soup kitchen and all of that, and I have conviction now that I'm thinking about it. But at the same time, I think that the people sometimes that we love the least are those closest to us.
Yeah.
It's very easy for us to talk about loving others when the people we should be loving are just in front of us. I mean, how did you speak to your wife today? How did you speak to your husband today? Did you show genuine appreciation for what they're doing in your life? I know a lot of people that, they'll say things like, well, life would be so much better without this person in my life. She's driving me crazy. He's driving me crazy. But then they go through a divorce, or even worse, something happens to that person.
Yeah.
And then they wake up a few weeks later and they realize all of the things that person did for them that they didn't even take credit for or tell you about. That's when they realize, oh, I really had something special here, and I drove that person away through my harsh language or my indifference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what are your New Year's resolutions?
I haven't made my list yet, but they are going to have a lot to do with my own ministry. I consider this. I have a lot of writing projects on, and then there's a course I am going to be teaching with my ministry that I have to get finished. My biggest sin that I've been working on for years is procrastination, and I haven't fully mastered it. So my biggest character reform that I want to change this year, and hopefully I can say a year from now that I'm not struggling with it anymore is procrastination.
Well, I'll pray for that. It's part of my prayer for you. It will be that.
My I'm always thinking about things and I'm always distracted. I'm the guy that walks into the next room and says, "What did I come in here for? I don't. Why? Why am I here?" It's like
It's
that's
kind of like
that's
some people's lives, right? You walk in, you go,
sure.
"What am I doing? Why am I
Yeah,
here?"
I
You
asked
know,
that too. I asked the existential question: What? Why do I exist? But I also am like, what did I come into this room for? Because my mind is, you know, I'm cray cray.
I want to go back to something you said a second ago about how we often treat the people we love the most, not the worst, or
Sure.
not as well as we should. And I think we lose sight of the tiniest little things. Just saying good morning, how are you, what's going on, give them a hug, tell them you love them. Sometimes that's the most valuable, important stuff we can do the whole day.
Absolutely. Yeah. People waste so much time in petty, differences, and adults are worse than teenagers when it comes to this. I kind of expect teenagers to kind of act like that towards one another. Adults do this.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, like for some petty reason, you're not going to. I know adults who ghost other adults because some comment they made 6 weeks ago that had no real genuine impact one way or the other. It didn't really matter, but they're so miffed about it they just don't respond to their texts. Can you believe that? An
Oh, yeah.
adult does this. So
Well, that's kind of the way of the world. Without Christ, we don't. Forgiveness is not a natural impulse.
yeah, and the saddest thing is when I hear of Christians doing this to one
Yeah,
another.
yeah, that's right.
That's when it really gets weird. It's like
Well, maybe
you
that would.
offended me. Well, I mean, there's a solution that you can forgive me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry I offended you. Certainly did not intend to. I mean, these are you can move past certain things. Um, so Rocky forgave Paulie for all the things he did to him.
That's right.
I don't think Rocky was the bastion of godliness. So
Well, I know some people that really struggle with this, with forgiveness, and
yeah,
I see where it's headed. When they're older, they are going to have no friends
that's true.
because they seem to write off everyone that gets close to them. And so, I feel really bad for that. It's like some people who get divorced and then they can't get married again, or they don't get married again. And where are you going to be when you're 75 or 85 or 95? Where are those people that you should have around you to support you in every stage of your life?
Right.
If we can't forgive, if we can't let go, we're going to be really lonely people as we get older.
Yeah.
I guess that's really, um, I'm really aware of that. That's something that's really in my mind, and I want to have people around me. I like the feeling, Travis, of being like the center of the web. I've got people in these circles, some closer, some further out, that I care about, that I pray about, that I engage with. Um, and not that I'm at the center of it, I'm at the center of my own web, and everyone should be at the center of their own web of connections. And that's a really satisfying. Uh, I really get a lot of satisfaction and peace from that sense that I have people that I care about that care about me.
Right. Well, I mean, one sobering thought is that most of us, I mean, everybody watching this and me, you, we're all going to be dead within 50 years.
Yeah.
Um, all of us will be dead within 100 years. There might be a few stragglers, but everybody on the planet right now will be dead in 100 years. What are you going to fill those years up with?
Right.
Petty disagreements over stupid things that at the end of the day don't really matter all that much. No person is all that important. I
You know,
mean,
we're, we're
so I think we see ourselves as so much more important than we are. So
we're out of time, but I got to say something about that because it's very cool. I remember being younger thinking, I want to be the best in the world at something.
right,
And there was a lot of angst about that. And the other day I read you're the early church father expert. Maybe you'll recognize who it was, but somebody said something like, the goal of the Christian is to live for Christ, die, and then be forgotten.
hmm.
And I
I
thought
don't know who said that.
that was, 40 years ago, I would have been horrified by that. And now there's like real peace in that for me.
Yeah,
Like, I don't have to be anybody. It's that Mother Teresa quote, um, now I can't remember it. It's about living for Christ. Christ, here it is. Christ doesn't call us to be successful. He calls us to be faithful.
yeah, right.
And there's a lot of deep satisfaction in just what we're talking about. Tell your wife you love her, give her a big hug, buy her flowers for no reason. Stay connected with your friends, take care of business with family and then other people. And man, does that feel good at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well,
I
on
mean,
that note, I love you, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Travis. It's a joy to do these shows with you.
You too. You take
All right.
care.